We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
We're going on a quest.
We are going on a messy quest thing.
A messy quest thing?
Welcome.
Quest thing.
Humans, all walks of life. We have elves here, dwarves, humans, men, wizards. We also have someone who is in the Star Wars universe, also / Darth Stevamir.
Wait, what?
We are going on an adventure, and I am so excited. I love talking about Lord of the Rings, especially with you guys. I've got my hairy hands here. So, hello. A huge shout out to Dean at Dreamers Empire and the Live Place. Dean is hosting, like, Meg, are those feet? Yes, they are. They are
647,644.
Watching?
Exactly.
No, that's how many streams Dean is hosting now.
Yes, and he is doing a movie week over at the Live Place, and so it kicked off last night, but I feel like it's only really starting right now because we have all of these.
Because Shepulus is here.
Yes, so let me introduce you to my awesome cast of people here, and then we will hop into the chat and say hello to everyone.
Hop like
an Egyptian.
Hobbit. We will hop it over to Lord of the Rings chat.
That was pretty bad. Don't do that again.
To my right on my screen, but I'm actually pointing to the left, is Shepulus. So Shepulus actually just went to the salon, got his hair done, ready for this stream. He is looking fabulous. And
it was a little humid. It was straight before the stream.
It was not.
But the humidity really blew it up.
Don't go back to that hair salon.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever you paid, ask for it back.
Don't go back.
Yeah. It was actually like a Groupon, so
that looks like an '80s rock band wig as opposed to.
I
was thinking like Whitesnake or something.
It kind of looks like a Lord of the Rings Billy Ray Cyrus.
All the freaking electro that Chef's been listening to
all over again. Good
it's
job.
80s electro, and that's all he listens to now.
Think back
Billy Ray Cyrus meets Michael Bolton is what it looks like.
My face has never been more itchy.
No, tear my heart.
So, with those two hair combinations, we will be getting some singing later from Shepulus, but just you wait. Hang on. Next, we have Dave, you changed your name to...
Yeah, well, because there is a Dimly. That's the issue.
Gimlevid. We have Gimlevid here.
All right, I'll change it. I'll find something else. Hashtag change it.
Well, okay. So actually, we're getting a new dwarf, I suppose, on our adventure. And we, there are, 13 dwarves that we can, be a part of. Anyway, we'll come back to Gimlevid, or I don't know, I'm having such a hard time saying that, or Dimly, or whatever dwarf you're going to be next. And we will go to Joshaborn, who will best Shepulus. So,
well, we're going to fight because... we're not going to fight, but we're going to kill a bunch of people, and we're going to count them at Helm's Deep, and I win.
I feel like there is.
We only kill orcs in Urukai.
But no better pair of people because you actually play games together. I'm sure you keep track of how many kills you have.
We actually do, but it's not like
I win every time.
That's not true. Ask him. I can pull up the last game, and we can look at the scoreboard of the last game.
That still only counts as one. And on to Joshaborn.
Still only counts as one.
Yep. Treebeard's beard was originally here, but we have now determined that he is Joshaborn or Aragorn. So welcome. He came prepared with his sword and his pipe. He is ready for battle. And we will be...
And Halfling's Leaf.
I love it. We'll get to hear more about that in just a bit. And then next we have either
the Gray.
I think he's Mouth Golf the Gray.
Waltz the Gray.
Walter the Gray.
The Gray. Walter. I don't know.
Mouth talk off.
Exactly. So, welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
Oh! I got it.
The white.
I got it. It's Sour Mouse. Talk.
Sour Mouse. But that would make him a bad
Sour
guy.
Mouse.
Yeah, that would make me Sour Mouse. I want to be the bad guy. I like
I
the good
actually
guys.
really like it. Sour Mouse. Okay.
Sour
Pretty
Mouse.
cool.
That sounds like a cousin of Mickey Mouse.
He's
It's
just,
the evil cousin.
he's just not as happy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Sour
more
Mouse.
sour.
So,
Actually, he's like the
Sour,
like-
sweet, gone. He's like the Cabbage Patch.
yeah, this
Or
this
Sour Patch.
Sour Patch Kids.
mhm.
Sour Patch. Sour, sweet, gone.
So that's actually not a sponsor of this stream, but I appreciate if Sour Patch would like to sponsor this individual.
That's what we put on the tombstone for our cat. We did. Sour, sweet, gone.
Now I know how.
I thought you put on there we would like
I
a
thought you put-
sponsorship.
Sponsored by Sweet Tarts.
Sour Patch.
Sour Patch, my bad.
Whatever candy it is, we will be heading over to Darth Stevemir, who is our resident.
It's like we're
villain.
12 minutes in and we haven't started talking.
Well,
I only do one season of anything and then I quit. Oh,
we
by the
do
way,
have-
Dad Bolt says I saw 80s rock band. He saw Liberace and Chef's Wig. So.
Oh, I love it. So thank you guys, gentlemen, for being here. It has been 13 minutes. I feel like we are on a Diz and That stream. And also someone had pointed out that Steve does not have a costume. So
I
And
can
also,
get
this
one.
will be the only time I wear a wig because I look
Oh.
darn good with it on.
yeah, I think
Oh,
you need
know
to go
what?
to a
No,
different.
no,
I think you do need to go to a different salon next time. But let's quickly hop into the chat, and then we will start talking about Hobbit into the chat, and then we will start talking about Lord of the Rings because this is why we have congregated together today. Surfer Girl Cherie, hello, welcome. Walt from Mouse Talk is in the chat. Dreamers Empire Dean said, "Hey Meg, this should be a 5-hour stream," and I would not disagree. But we are only going to do it for a shorter period of time because people have other things to do with their time. Timothy Rainwaters, hello. Karki, hello. James Ryan. I see that you guys all popped in from Steve's stream, so thank you so much for being here. Dad Builds, hello. Captain
Is that a stream?
Stacy.
What did
Stacy.
you say? Oh gosh. I'm so bad. Thene Amazing, hello. Joy S, Tim Pruitt, Karen Cook, Tina McNeil, Stacy Rogers, Nick Gates, Avery, the Cuban American, Faith Hope, and Disney. Oh, aka Barbara. It's so nice to know your name, Barbara. Hello. Angela, welcome. Emily, LSU mom, Jonathan Chong. Wait, there are okay, I'm going. WDW Larky, hello. Welcome. Jersey Mike.
My hair is glowing.
It really, you are an angel here tonight. Nick Gates, I think I said you maybe. Donald, welcome. Team Marie Photography. Nathan Rada. Hello. Leanne Sherbick. Hi, Leanne. My team member. My quarterback, shall I say. Kay Atwood. Hello. Donna Jaworski. Ryan McDowell, or Mr. Animal. Linda, welcome. Lana Stone. Elena, aloha. I'm trying to catch up, guys, because I know that you had lots of fun things to say.
Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda.
I actually wore the Baby Yoda ears because I felt like that was the closest to Gollum that I could possibly get. So,
So you're telling me you don't have Lord of the Rings ears?
I don't, and I feel like I need to go and make them now.
Yeah.
G.
Stacy, you
Williams,
will get your raise.
Nasty hobbits as they are.
Kathy, welcome. Yes, nasty hobbits. Oh, Arjan says, I'm falling asleep already. Well, Richard, that's why you weren't invited on this particular stream.
Wait, what?
He falls asleep during Lord of the Rings. He said he really tried to watch it, but I digress. We shall talk about that.
That's unacceptable.
Next time I go down there, I'm going to go over. I'm going to tape Richard's eyelids up to the top of his forehead.
So wait, time out.
And we're going to make him watch it.
You're going to watch 13 hours of movies.
Oh, yeah.
I
guess I'll let him blink between movies.
During the 96 hours that you're in Florida.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
I haven't been going to Disney a lot during when I go to Florida. I go visit people.
I think I look more like Joe Dirt, to be honest with you.
You do look like
You definitely got the Joe Dirte going.
Like Joe Dirt.
Don't church it up, boy. Don't you mean Joe Dirt?
Lauren Travel, welcome. And he shall not pass out. I love it.
You shall not pass
Yes, you shall not pass out. If I missed you, please let me know. Tag me. It jumped really far. Alex the filmmaker, hello. But we are just going to start because we are already 16 minutes into the stream. Oh, Alyssa and Neil, hello, welcome. a phenomenal trilogy. I also
Chris, I like it. Dad builds his Chris.
Oh, Chris, hello.
Yep.
Dad builds Chris. Awesome. Lots of. I like knowing people's first names.
Hi, Chris.
And Bewitched, hello. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bewitched says Elsa Shep. Actually, it is Shepalus, and we will be getting more into that as we talk about the movies. So I figured that we would only have a few talking points. Hold on one second, Just Gimli. I will get to you in just 1 second. But mostly because we have 6 people here and we are all very passionate about Lord of the Rings. And also I have people that like to go off the rails, namely, and that other gentleman over there. So Shepalus.
I always stick to whatever topic that you want to discuss.
Yep.
I never go off reservation. I feel like it's disrespectful.
Oh, okay.
It's not the right thing to do.
So 70 episodes of disrespectful in that is what you're saying.
I just can't wait till I have the single greatest line in all of Lord of the Rings. I just waiting to get to it. So go ahead.
Okay, so I first want to talk about why you like Lord of the Rings so much and why, I mean, we're only specifically talking about the Lord of the Rings. We're not talking about the Hobbit book or movie series. We're only talking about the Lord of the Rings, whether it is the books or movies. Obviously, this is a movie week, so we're going to focus more on the movies. But if you do like the books, I would love to hear about that as well. But let's start with Shepalus. We know that you were in the film itself, but I would like to hear about why you love the Lord of the Rings.
I've actually never watched them.
Oh, you did them.
Not once.
No. That's actually why you came on.
I actually forget why we're even here. What were we doing tonight?
I don't know, actually.
80s rock groups.
I love the Lord of the Rings. I saw the cartoon way back. It's probably like in the 80s when I saw the cartoon. And I mean, I gotta just mention, I saw the Hobbit first, obviously.
Yeah.
And I love the Hobbit cartoon. And then I saw the Lord of the Rings cartoon, and I just loved the whole entire story. And when they were going to finally put it into real life on video, I was in the theater. I went to the theater every opening day for every single one of them, for all the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. I went opening day, every single one.
That's very special.
And I love it because the story that it tells, the character development that is portrayed throughout the 6.5 years. If you watch it all consecutively, it's about how long it takes to watch them all. Because you got to add in the special editions too, because those were always longer.
That's the only version of
Yeah, that's the extended editions are the only. Wait, where did this comment go? I'm waiting.
Which was crazy because they'd release the movie because they were every other year. The releases were every other year.
So true. That is so true.
Shep is that guy in the book club that never reads any of the books. He just shows up for the food and drinks.
Someone brought like chips and salsa. I was like, I'm there. You know,
It's usually cookies.
What is it?
It's usually cookies.
Yes, actually, I heard that Dave was in possession of Smog. It is a small, tiny horse named Winston. So
He's actually back in his cave, presiding over his gold currently.
Well, thank you so much, Shepalus, for giving us that little insight of why you enjoyed the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually not done yet. So
okay.
No,
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
Continue if you'd like.
No, it's all right.
Dude,
you can just cut me off middle of my sentence.
I found a new way to communicate what the person next to me needs to be communicated about. So arrows and whatever, and he hasn't read the books.
I have.
It's my new thing. I like this.
I read one of the books.
Well, okay, and so Pick a New Name needs to tell us why why you enjoy the Lord of the Rings.
Is that like I feel like we're going to like Last of Mohegans movie now. His name is Pick a New Name.
So I feel like I touched on this the last time we talked about this topic, and I remember reading The Hobbit very early on. I did not get into the movies until after Fellowship, right? And had some buddies that were like, "So you like Star Wars?" I'm like, "Yeah." Did you read The Hobbit? Yeah. Well, this is only better, or Like, okay. So I immediately watched Fellowship of the Ring on video, on DVD when it came out, and fell in love with it and read all of the books before Two Towers came out.
Yeah.
And this is like in 60 days prior to it. So totally got into it, totally nerded out about it. Absolutely love it. I've always been a fan of some semblance of, I hate to say epic fantasy because that's what this is, but the absolute good versus evil stuff have always nerded out, and this just like fit right in. So loved it, fell in love with the characters, loved the fact that like if you look at what's going on right now in epic fantasy and in other writings, right? Like Harry Potter, you have 7 freaking books. Robert Jordan hasn't finished a series yet, ever. And he died. And then they're trying to finish it. Then they're not going to finish it and continue on. Look at Game of Thrones. Like everything's massive. This is a nice, concise, 1,350 pages, including The Hobbit. Is that correct? It's in that ballpark. Like it's under 2,000 pages.
Yeah.
And it is such a rich story. And there's so many little nuggets you can pull out of it.
If you look at him closely, he's actually looking down and reading something off of
I am
Google.
100%. I am. But
it's like Wikipedia something. It's like he's just
I'm not
reading
even having my
Wikipedia.
camera up here yet, dude. I'm sorry. But like the fact that Tolkien developed such a rich history, but wasn't such a turd that he had to put all of it out there. You know what I mean? Like he did in the Silmarillion and whatever, but like the story is here. That's it. That's it. It's not let's expand on it or whatever. But I loved that. The opposite of how I talk. I talk forever. And he put it in 1,200 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
It's
is like
such
one
a-
book for Lord of the Rings. I mean, for Game of
Pop.
Thrones, that's one book.
Oh, dude, Robert Jordan's are
Yeah.
like 100 or like what? 1,100 pages? 900 pages? Wheel of Time series? It's ridiculous.
Well, Dave, that was very well said. I also want to say hi to Gigi, who was in here, and I saw, I think, Wesley come in.
Hello,
and
daughter.
Julie C, hello. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. We are chatting about The Lord of the Rings tonight for the movie.
Chit-chatting
Yeah.
away.
Yep. So on to
Chit-chatting
Josh Gorn.
away.
Josh, would you like to tell us however long you want? It doesn't have to be Dave length, but
Josh, real quick, I can send you real quick the
Real
Spark Notes summary on it.
Yep.
If you want to do what Dave did.
Yep, exactly what Dave said. But tell us why you like The Lord of the Rings.
I think maybe the life lessons
Mhm.
and all the hidden things that J.R.R. Tolkien embedded in there, and the effort. See, like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and the Silmarillion, the Children of Hurin. Now I know we're talking books here, but like this guy's life work. But the movie specifically, like these are movies that many movie studios said they could never be made.
Yep.
Like I'm pretty sure Peter Jackson got turned down at least 3 times.
Yeah, they didn't
To make
think
these
they could
movies?
adapt them. They didn't think they were adaptable to movies from
Yeah.
the books.
Right. And then for these movies to be made when they were made, the way that they were made makes them like trailblazers. If I firmly believe if Lord of the Rings wasn't created, we wouldn't have some of the special effects we do today.
That's true.
It's
Weta
pretty
was
amazing.
Very groundbreaking
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
What
Like
I mean,
beyond the story and the character development and what Peter Jackson did with Tolkien's work, just the movies themselves and the advancements that they made with them, it's pretty spectacular.
yeah, I 100% agree. And Walt, as you were saying, Weta did an unbelievable job and just bringing everything to life. And I like to think that it's like Peter Jackson's little love letter of like he was also such a fan, and when you're such a fan of something yourself, you want to do the best possible job. And I think it's still unbelievable that they made each book into their own unique movie.
Well,
And I mean, we could talk about The Hobbit another time, but
and that's what was so amazing, I think,
Yeah.
with the Lord of the Rings, the films as a work, is everybody that was in it was either a huge fan, especially Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen, and then if they weren't a huge fan, they were when they left.
Yeah.
And it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so incredible, such an amazing cast, and we will get into some of our favorite characters in just a little bit. But Walt, whatever your name was, whatever Shepolis said, would you like to tell us why you are a fan of The Lord of the Rings?
It's Mouse Talk Off.
Oh,
That's
yes,
I'm gonna
exactly.
change it to that.
It rolls right off your tongue.
Yours.
No, it doesn't.
I like how Chris Dadbills is giving everyone a little title for our non-book club book club. So
Yep, that's me.
Josh sees all the hidden
No,
meaning.
I'm just the guy with the hidden flask in the books.
Yep, that too. So anyway, Walt.
He's also got the kick butt hat.
Yes, and the
Yes.
pipe.
And the sword.
Yep.
The S
And-
word.
A sword.
I just
got
pulled
the
these out of my
sword.
study.
That sounds so fancy. Yeah, you would definitely be one of the people to actually read the books in the book club.
Mhm.
Anyway, moving on.
Well,
Walt, would you like
Well.
to tell us why you are a fan of The Lord of the Rings?
I knew nothing about the Lord of the Rings before I went to see the first movie. Didn't know what it was. I actually got it confused with Lord of the Flies. That's how
Oh.
funny that is. So
The
on a
concept
date night,
fell.
I'm serious. I went on a date night with Melissa. We were out. My parents were watching the kids, and we're like, "Let's go see a movie." And we're like, "What's Lord of the Rings?" I don't know. Let's go see it. Fell in love with it. And a lot like Dave, as soon as I was done with Fellowship, I went home. I told Melissa, buy the books right now. And I read them. And not within 90 days, but I was done before Two Towers came out. Read them ever since. I read them once a year. They are phenomenal. And it's all about story for me. Anybody that knows me, story comes first. Character development is second. All the bells and whistles of all the special effects and all that's last for me. Story means everything. This tells the best story. You've got all these great heroes, all these wonderful warriors, all these great battles and armies, but it all comes down to two little hobbits that have to save the day. And the obstacles that they have to encounter and overcome, and friendship and fellowship. It's just a phenomenal story with incredible character development. And it made some careers. Orlando Bloom is not Orlando Bloom if it's not for the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean, he got
Yeah,
pirates.
pirate
Right
too.
He got pirates because of Lord of the Rings.
Did he?
He certainly did.
I thought he got
Yeah.
cast, but they just came out. Okay.
And Viggo Mortensen became a household name. Elijah Wood became a household name. It was, I mean, the only two that were really big stars in this were Sean Bean, I guess three, Christopher Lee, and of the main characters, and Ian McKellen, because Kate Blanchett had a small part.
Well, what's his face?
Liv Tyler had it. It was pretty famous too.
Yeah,
though.
Liv Tyler was
Wait,
famous.
I don't think that was
But
maybe
that-
because
but
of who she
and-
was.
well,
He's famous for being
but
Steve
Eric,
Powers' daughter.
Elrond, what's his?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But
Hugo.
again,
Hugo
minor, but
Yeah.
they're minor characters. They weren't any of the main Fellowship.
Yeah.
They're minor characters.
In the movies or the books? Because
Both.
kind of important there, Broseph.
I don't know. Hugo Weaving, he doesn't have a really big part in the movies. I mean, his parts in the movie are pretty limited.
I do feel though that they do have a big impact on the films themselves.
Impactful. What about Kate Blanchett? Like she was big.
Galadriel. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
But she was in it for like her total screen time across all the movies was like
But
Might have been 30 minutes.
like 15
But, like-
minutes. Yeah.
But like Meg was saying, it's impactful. Like there were so many
yeah.
impactful.
Well, all the characters are impactful. I agree. I mean,
Well, it goes.
Bilbo Baggins is in it for all of 5 minutes in the first movie, and his part is extremely impactful. He starts, and that's Ian Holm for crying out loud.
but I feel like I don't know, Elrond or Galadriel almost, in my personal opinion, have bigger parts than Bilbo because this isn't this.
It isn't Bilbo's story. No,
Yeah, it's not his story. The Hobbit was his story. And yes, Sean Bean always dies early. That's something that always happens.
No. Sean Bean always dies.
Yeah.
He didn't die. He
average.
didn't die.
No.
In one of his.
He didn't die in National Treasure. He just went to jail. Well, he just went to jail.
So something bad
I think he
happened.
was
He just
still.
went to Dale.
He went to Dale.
He went to jail.
He did go to
He
jail.
went to Dale's jail.
Well, thank you so much, Walt, for sharing that. We're going to move
Hey,
on
thanks for listening.
because we're already a half hour into the stream, which is bananas to me. Because I also want to talk about some of our favorite characters. So,
Or
Steve,
not
though,
him.
I want to hear from Steve.
Steve or Darth Steve Amir, will you tell us why you are a fan of the Lord of the Rings?
Well, there's so much to correct and clarify from what these others said, but we'll get over that. The one thing I will say is
Are you also
That's
a fan
not
of
true.
bananas?
two little hobbits did not save the day. One saved the
And
day, and the other one stragged along, kept pesking it.
No. If we're talking about who
Anyway.
just dragged along, that's Frodo. Frodo
Anyways.
literally
Yeah.
said, I
Yeah.
cannot carry the ring, but I can carry you. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
Frodo's-
somebody wrote
Frodo
a line
was
for
No,
it.
Frodo didn't say that. Sam said that.
exactly.
I don't like Sam. She does. That's why she's saying it.
You don't like Sam?
What?
I
Sam
know.
Gamgee's the worst character in any film.
Wait.
Samwise the
Get him
Brave.
out.
Hey,
This
it's
is Mickey Mouse
my
Clubhouse.
turn. Anyways,
What kind of
he
kind
was
of hot
he
take
was a
is that?
whiny brat. Anyways, picture 2003, December of 2003. I don't know what Lord of the Rings is. I haven't seen the first two movies.
Clearly.
My brother comes over and says, "Hey, you got to watch this show." I watched the first two and thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Because he talked the whole thing and I didn't know
You
what he
should probably
was.
just let him. You should probably just get him out of here right now.
Let me get to this as a happy ending like Resort TV 1 story does. Anyways, I thought it was stupid. Couldn't follow it. Couldn't understand it. Didn't understand what was going on. And then I let him leave, and then I rewatched them because the third one was getting ready to come out. And I rewatched them on my own time and the way I could focus and get involved to it. And then I started finding the little things. And all these, I think all the actors had big parts. I maybe didn't have as much screen time, but all the actors had amazingly big parts. That could not have been done better, except for Sean Astin as Samwise Gamgee. No, I'm just kidding. He did a good Samwise. I just don't like the character.
Fantastic.
Josh is not
Corey.
negative Nancy. I'm being
Corey.
very, very supportive here.
No,
So,
he's not.
No.
Then when I
No,
watched it
you're
on my
not.
own, I got fascinated by how it worked. I didn't care. I didn't like. I like the movies better than the books by far. I read the books after I watched the movies, but I started watching these movies.
You guys
And I
feel it in the
started
ground?
diving into
It's
it. Then I
fucking
started-
rolling in his grave.
Then I started going into studying it, actually researching it, finding out how they did things, and they revolutionized. Peter Jackson revolutionized
Good
the
point,
entire
Dean.
film industry.
Good point, Dean.
He didn't win an Academy
I'm going
Award
to
for an
highlight that when it
actor.
pops
Well,
up.
first off, I think Dean's incorrect. I hate to say it. Sean Astin did not win for Lord of the Rings. No actor won for Lord of the Rings.
Which was a
He
track.
was nominated, I think, but
Yeah.
he did not win.
Either way, nomination.
It had
I'm
the
just
I'm getting there, Dean. I'm getting there. So I thought
I think.
the film adaptation of the story was absolutely brilliant. I thought the way they portrayed the things that they portrayed was very important. I know people have big issues when they leave things out of the books from the movies. I read the books afterwards. I could care less about the stuff they left out. I thought the movies were absolutely fantastic.
Tom
Peter Jackson revolutionized a lot of things, especially the filming of 3 movies at one time. That's what made this thing epic. That's what made it flow, is because they filmed everything while everybody was still in the same character at the same
Yes.
time. Everybody looks the same. Everybody's in the same part. Everything
precedent.
the same, and it was absolutely a fantastic.
That's why it took him like 3 years to film it.
Well, but for those that don't know, originally New Line Cinema was going to do this all in one movie.
Yeah.
They were going to do, which would have been a disaster.
Oh yeah,
And then they said, well, wait a minute, there's 3 books. Why don't we make 3 movies? And they're like, yeah.
I guess
I
that
think it's really the mistake, and we're not going to get into The Hobbit. I really think it's the
Oh.
mistake The Hobbit made. They took one book and tried to make it 3 movies.
Right. Well, yeah, because the trilogy is the thing now. So real quick, completely off topic.
Real
We were
quick.
we were talking about this today. We were actually talking about the way cinema is going to go when we come out of pandemic and whatever. But Lord of the Rings was brought up, where the choice is, if you could have limited run series or bingeable shows, right? Would you have appreciated Lord of the Rings more if it was a 6 or 7 episode, hour and a half, maybe 12 episode, hour long series where you literally got everything in the books? because they could have done it almost verbatim in a miniseries or a season or two.
You mean like
Same casting and
Game of
everything.
Thrones?
Same casting, same everything, whatever. But we were talking about the way things are going to go and whether or not people are going to still continue.
Well, we can find out because they're doing a series.
Yeah.
They are, but they're not doing the original movies.
No, yeah,
They're
doing.
Yeah,
it
it's like
They're doing the second. It's the second age. First off, it's like
Right.
it's like 1,000 years before any of the.
Right.
It's not the third age. It's
Yeah,
the
it's-
beginning of the second.
Well,
It's all Silmarillion.
Something I think is very, to Dave's point there, I personally don't think I would have liked it because typically speaking, movies go bigger. Movies go bigger with the budget. Movies go bigger with because they're going to be on the big screen. They go bigger with the
Yeah.
theatrics.
I
Not
gotta,
necessarily. Look at Game of Thrones.
I gotta disagree. Look at Game
Well,
of Thrones. Look at
I'll-
something like The Boys on Amazon right now, which is
Or The
totally not
Witcher.
family
But
friendly.
those aren't movies. Those are
Those
television.
aren't movies or shows.
I
And
But he's
understand
definitely
that, but that's
saying.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
if they
saying.
would
We
have done Lord
moved
of the Rings
towards
as a
that.
show, it would not have been as successful as it was in the movies.
I
think
disagree wholeheartedly.
I
I think
disagree
if they
with that.
did it back in that time period,
I would have hated
2003,
it.
it wouldn't have been possible because there was no Netflix, there was no bingeable
Right.
TV
Right.
places.
I'm just
If they
saying
did
right
it
now.
if they did it right now,
Same
I
cast,
don't
same everything.
I would say
I
one
don't
of the greatest TV shows that has been successful is Game of Thrones. And if they would have tried to do Game of Thrones into a movie, I think it would have been so much better.
No, disagree wholeheartedly.
Into 3 or 6 movies.
Nope.
I
Couldn't
think-
have covered it.
That's your opinion. You're allowed
Couldn't
to
have
do that.
covered it.
I
It's-
completely would
It's
disagree. I think it would have been
72,000
better.
pages and it's not finished yet.
I do think that the way that the plot of Game of Thrones runs lends itself a little bit more to like cliffhangers and like it being an hour
That's a fair point.
plus episode. But I think what makes The Lord of the Rings so special is the time that it was made and how it was taken such care of in 2.5 hours of like you get so much of the book
3.5 hours.
Yeah. What
that the return
what
of
Mouth
the King-
Dolph said.
The Return of the King is a very long movie. It is 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yep. But just the amount of
4
stuff that they were able to put in the movies
Especially
and
then it is.
still like you could sit and watch all of it and get the story. And we've been talking a lot about the story and how that is so important to this particular trilogy. And I think, I don't know, I followed Game of Thrones and I thought it was fine, but I'm a much bigger fan of The Lord of the Rings
Mhm.
because you could continuously
Me too.
follow the story. And I don't think I would have liked it as much, but we're also in a very different time right now. I think it was so successful because of the time that it was made. And I don't think that The Hobbit was as successful, and that obviously was made a little bit more new, more modern. Yes, Josh.
Oh, see, and I think one thing that Game of Thrones had that Lord of the Rings didn't have is they had the original author on set.
Yeah.
And it was his decision as to, how to run with it.
Mhm.
And so
to that point too, that was adapted for TV for the cliffhangers to be there every episode. You could have done that with Lord of the Rings too. Just my opinion. I don't think it would have been as good. Just like Star Wars and Mandalorian, there's no way Mandalorian is as good, as successful as it is. It's not near as good as the movies, in my opinion.
Correct. I agree.
And I guess that's a good point too.
I think that's an unfair comparison.
Well, I think it's an unfair
I
comparison with
my
Game of Thrones
opinion,
and Lord of the
my
Rings
opinion
as
is the movies are way
well.
better.
One's a TV show, one is a movie. With the
And when they're
TV show,
written-
you have more time to plan out seasons.
But that,
Most of these places are signed in for 2 or 3 seasons right off the bat.
but that's what I'm,
They're highly successful. A movie, you've got to cram it all in.
but that's
And-
what I'm saying. Well, they cut out a lot of significant stuff that people were not happy with. And,
well,
and
you'd
and
have,
the past one,
it wouldn't be a TV show. You can only do it in a miniseries.
it's a mini.
Like-
It's a limited run.
right, like a
12
band of brothers,
episode,
like a
10
band of
episode.
brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could run it like that. So you
I
can
wouldn't want it
extend
that
a
way
little
though.
bit.
I want the epic. I want the epic movie theater. I
Me
like
too.
the fact that I had at the end of Two Towers when they're about to go into, go into Mordor.
Yeah.
They leave us with the cliffhanger of,
With
all right, here we
Samwise
go.
the Brave.
What?
where they tell the story of like what's going to happen with Samwise Gamgee. Before I get to you, I want to say hi to Brianna and Shelly, and even Corey says it's a different story, no comparison. Yes, Josh, go.
I have a question. Why are we listening to Steve's opinions after the Samwise comments?
I don't know. Let's talk about it.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
One's agreeing with me, so I kind of like it. So
No. We're not going to. Okay, let's. That's a good
Well, I'm not
segue.
agreeing about Samwise. He's a
No,
very, very important character.
Samwise is an important character. I just don't like him.
Okay. Anyway, Shepolis, would you like to tell us about a few of your favorite characters? Whether you guys want to start with just talking about one favorite character, or if you want to mention a few and why you like them. Let's start with Shepolis. Is one of your favorite characters Legolas?
No, he hates him.
Actually, I mean,
know.
he is actually. I think him and Dave said it earlier, like him and Gimli's relationship, and just the relationship of dwarfs and elves anyway were just or horrible, and then they come together and become best friends, and just like their story together is huge, and
how their story ends in the book is even better.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you guys would totally do a drinking game. I would know that. So, yep.
Well, we are competitive by nature, and it rolls over to Call of Duty. I literally said to him, "You stole my kill today." 20 minutes before we came on this, so it's legit.
But no, I like the buildup of their characters. I think they're probably I think their dynamic's pretty awesome. I don't know. Merry and Pippin kind of the same way. I like their roles. I like their.
I feel like that's not surprising to me because we all know you. You're a very comedic person. You are very, very funny, and I feel like they are almost the comic relief of the whole trilogy. Both Gimli, Legolas, and Merry.
Can I add to that real quick? But also, Shep is one of the most serious people you've ever met. Outside of that, there's such a duality to his personality, and Merry and Pippin are that duality, and it doesn't surprise me that's on his list because he is a very, very, very funny individual. But at the same token,
but I'm so serious.
No, if it comes down to brass tacks, though, especially for people that you care about, you're going hard or you're going home, and that's it. So,
yep, they're very passionate people. They care about the people in their circle. So Merry and Pippin are very, very passionate about protecting each other, and it's heartbreaking to see them get split up. I feel like, but those are some really amazing characters. I love that. It's hard to pick some of your favorite characters.
I think my favorite character though is his name slips my mind, but the Nazgul King.
Oh yeah,
the Witch King. The Witch King.
Yeah.
Because think about it, you get to fly around
on a Nazgul.
I mean, how dope is that? Like you fly around and you just hear, and like everyone knows.
And then you get one of those what are those things called where you
the mace?
Is that
Morningstar?
Morningstar, yeah.
Yeah, that. Also, Dana's here and says, "Who steals your kills?" I know it.
You gotta say it right. Who steals yo kills?
Yo
kills, bro.
And also, Nicole's here. Hello. Yes, Nicole says the books are better. But anyway, that's pretty cool. I actually have a Funko Pop of the Witch King on the Nazgul, which is
that's pretty sweet,
pretty awesome. He's a pretty cool character. And
I mean, I swear to God, if I was walking around like in the woods just randomly, I don't know, looking for worms, I don't know, something, and you hear that loud squealing, I would literally I'd try to cut open a tree and hide inside the tree and just, because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
That's scary stuff, man.
Especially when they're in Osgiliath and that's all you hear is the. Anyway, thank you for sharing some of your favorite characters, Dave. The return.
I have one more.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh.
So here's where I'm at. And Shep took the two that I was gonna say. I was gonna say Legolas and Gimli because of the backgrounds and them finding a way to forge ahead with friendship. Merry and Pippin, because they're just Merry and Pippin. But what I want to say is that this whole book, it's kind of structured around duality, right? You have the duality of good versus evil, which is the overarching theme of the entire book. But you have Merry and Pippin, which the way they play off of each other and help each other, it's one, right? You have Samwise, probably the best character in the book, Steve, and Frodo, and frankly, they are 100%, like, in my eyes, barbell opposites, right? Frodo has this complete 100% weight of carrying the ring, and Sam has this 100% weight of making sure that he gets there. And they are not going to complete that without both of those. And then you have the 100%, I guess, dark versus light of Sauron and Gandalf. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have Boromir and Faramir before, that's going back into history. But then you have Aragorn and Boromir. You have all of this duality of it. And you can even look at it with, like, Elrond and I can't think of her Cate Blanchett name right now.
That's
Galadriel. Right? That there's so much of that throughout that I don't even know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah. Who are your favorite characters again?
Yeah,
He talked about
took them. I'm bringing up another point. He took them all.
Oh,
No, that's a really good point, Dave. That there
yeah,
are
they are for sure.
duality
A lot of throughout.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of characters exhibit that throughout the entire story. And I think, in my mind, I categorize a lot of the characters in pairs. So it's Merry and Pippin, it's Sam and Frodo, it's Gimli and Legolas, and they're all in pairs to me. And I think, to Dave's point, it's because they need each other, and the only exception of that is maybe there's kind of like a triangle going on with Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas. They kind of all need each other.
But where did she go?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what happened there. Everyone's screens just started spinning, but I'm back now.
She's back. She's back.
I'm back. Yeah. But we will hop on to Josh. Oh,
so my favorite character is Legolas.
Oh,
the character that I feel does not need to be in the story is Frodo. But continue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very interesting because I would almost agree with that. But I'm not going to say anything else yet. Josh, who are some of your favorite characters?
Well,
besides Legolas and Gimli.
Obviously, I love Aragorn and Gandalf. I think most people would agree there. But the ones that are a little bit different that I really like is Boromir and Éomer, right?
Éomer,
yes. Yeah. From
those are my two.
Rohan,
Boromir because he shows humanity, the flaws of humanity.
He's flawed.
And like many of us, we're all that way.
You're talking about the brothers?
I'm not flawed, so I don't know where you're getting that from.
Okay.
I'm an elf, man. Like, we don't have any flaws. We're like, perfect specimens.
And then you've got Éomer, who is loyal to a fault, like a good soldier.
To the point he gets exiled.
Yeah.
Exactly, but still defends the land.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Avery said that Legolas invented Lego, so that's why Lego is called Lego. And that only makes sense because Shepardus is Legolas, and therefore he created Lego. So it all makes sense.
I don't want to take all the. Yeah, I don't want to take all the credit, but
just take 99% of the credit.
99.9.
Like 0.9.
It's hard because that's why it's so good. That's J.R.R. Tolkien's character development. Yeah. That literally you could pick any character in the book and give a reason why they are a great
except for the bad guys, because they're just bad.
But even the bad guys are cool too. Like,
yeah, they're cool, but Saruman doesn't have any character development. I'm sorry, Saruman does, but Sauron doesn't. There's no character development. It's a big guy.
And then you get into the backstory of everything, and it's so intricate and it goes so deep.
I agree. And I also agree with you. It's so hard to pick one character. Like I said, Dean says the bad guys had some of the best performances, Wormtongue and Denethor. And I do not like Denethor. He's like one of my least favorite characters, but it's because he was probably played so well that I just have like this aversion to him that I don't want to, I'm like, I don't like this guy. Why are you killing your son, alive? Anyway, thank you, Josh, so much for sharing those two more unrecognized, characters. I feel like they really contribute to the movie, but they're not as recognized as some of the others that are more prominent in the film. So thank you.
But he's also Walter from Fringe.
I don't.
Yes, he is from the show Fringe. He is.
You didn't watch the show Fringe?
No.
Oh,
he's been in a lot of things. Very good actor.
Oh,
very good actor.
Also, Aragorn's not a man; he's a Numenorean.
He's a king,
but he's not human. He's Numenorean.
He can live for hundreds of years.
Yes, he's
87 in the books.
Yeah. He looks pretty good for 87. James says, I think Elrond is fascinating since he has the gift of vision. And wait, let's see. Well, I think that's definitely an interesting plot as well with Arwen and Aragorn and Elrond, because Arwen's not really in the books that much. So
no, not at all. They definitely accentuated her character much more in the movies, but it was good because they needed to. They needed a female developed character in these movies.
Well, at least they didn't make her up completely.
Well,
they didn't.
It's the one thing Tolkien wasn't good at doing.
They didn't make up Eowyn either. But you're talking about in The Hobbit.
And also, Surfbomb, hello, welcome. So, Josh, thank you. We're gonna go to Walt because I can't believe it's already 9:53, and we need to talk about why Walt and Steve, their favorite characters too. So,
well, I'll be brief. My favorite, I always like the stoic characters.
Oh, can I pick?
They're my favorite.
Do you like Gandalf, right?
Gandalf, Elrond, Aragorn, Galadriel.
Yeah.
I like those types of characters. They're just my favorite. The comic relief is great. I love all the characters.
Yeah.
But I really love Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White.
Yes.
Galadriel. Lord Elrond is just phenomenal. He fought in the big war with Sauron. He was there. He fought him. He is so freaking cool. Galadriel is phenomenal. I just love all their characters. They're just and there's so many other ones in the books that weren't included that are awesome. But I just love the stoic characters. I really do. And Aragorn, he's awesome. I mean, he's just such a great character. When he's sitting there and Frodo tries to hand him the ring and he closes his hands up and goes.
Oh, I am chills thinking about that.
Well, what about when he pulls out Anduril and holds it to the throat of the ghost in the mountain?
Right. Like, or when he turns around at the Black Gate when they're doing the final battle and he looks at everybody and he goes, for Frodo.
Or he picks up the shard
and he beelines in, yeah.
And then the two hobbits follow right behind him. But look, I don't understand. And look, to this day, I understand a lot of people think Frodo is not. He is the single most important character. He's the guy that carries the ring. Yep. He's the guy at the Council of Elrond that says, I will take the ring. None of the other ones had the guts to say it. He said it, and he did it. Now, he failed in the end, yes. But he got it there. How can you not give that man props for what he did? I'm sorry. Totally important character. Nobody else could have done it, except maybe Bilbo, because he held it for 60 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, Patrick, that brings up an interesting point. I think also I want to say I don't discount that Frodo is an important character in the story. I don't like him as much just because of his storyline, and I know that that's why he's important. And I know that it's a burden. It's such a burden to hold the ring. But he said, I think that Frodo was the only one that could have resisted the ring's pull. I don't think Sam had the character to resist the pull of the ring. But I disagree about that because Sam was able to hold the ring. He was able
for an hour.
He gave it
for
back
an hour.
He gave it back to Frodo. It doesn't matter how.
But he resisted after an hour. Frodo held it for 13 months, and in the end, it took till that very last minute. And he actually didn't resist the pull because in the end, he wouldn't give it up.
But he did give it up, and that was the important part.
Corey could have done it.
Yes,
I do not agree with that at all.
Yep.
Sorry,
could not have
Corey.
done it.
Dave doesn't
Corey
agree
could
with
not.
that.
No, sorry.
Corey.
Yeah,
Corey would have.
Bilbo is the only one.
But
I
I,
think
but I
that
think
would've
Chris threw it
really
out there
thrown-
earlier. No one even mentioned. And I'll let Steve finish.
Yeah, well, I want to say my favorite characters too, but Steve could go because I want to hear what Chris said too.
So, I think the actors make these characters. I think it's an
For sure.
incredibly gifted cast. I think
Yes.
a lot of different actors would be playing these different parts. We wouldn't even be talking about some of this, and it may not have been as successful as it is. I think the cast made these characters, and that's why I really enjoyed watching the movies before I read the
Technically,
books,
Tolkien.
because I think they created their own character for it. With that being said, Legolas is my favorite character. Legolas is the voice of reason, the voice of conscience, the guide.
I know. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't say Shepulus, I said Legolas. Legolas is always been my favorite character because he's very stoic. But he's also a leader in his own right, but helps guide Aragorn and people down the right path. My second favorite character is Gandalf, easily Gandalf. That dude has an important role. Sir Ian McKellen is one of the greatest actors, in my opinion, in history, and I think he plays that character very well. I think he's a very he again plays the going from the gray to the white fantastically, and I think that my third favorite character, which was 100% created by the actor, and that's Gollum. I think Gollum is
Andy Serkis,
extremely important character, and I think I agree with Walt. Frodo is the single most important character in the whole thing. I just don't care too much for him, but he is the single most important character in the movie trilogy. But Gollum is played by Andy Serkis, who does all the moves with little dots all over his body. The guy commits to everything he does, and again,
Great
I don't
job.
think
He
it
was
been-
phenomenal.
Yeah.
but I don't think it'd been near as good without the right people in the right parts, and that's
Yeah.
why I like.
I hate Gollum.
And you-
That
and you know that-
character.
But you know that
He's
Andy
awesome
Serkis-
though.
Andy Serkis did a good job because literally people
He's awesome.
today will say, "My precious," and they
Yes.
will say it in his voice.
Yep.
And while
Okay.
"My precious" is the thing in the books, like
But-
no one came up with a voice for that until Andy Serkis,
Yep.
and his
Oh yeah.
character in Lord of the Rings, also like he has played
Well,
so
in the
many-
Hobbit cartoon, he says, "My precious."
but just like the way that he said, like the way that he
way
portrayed
with
The sounds he makes.
That's the thing.
But in the books, it is portrayed that way. He talks like that in the books too.
Yeah.
So he is really lending from the books when he talks like that. They
Yeah.
talk. He says, Mies loves
Keep in
the
mind-
precious in the books. He says it like that in the books too. So
Yeah.
The
Like,
script
they're
is
making
given
this
to the
movie.
actors.
They're
Sorry,
making
the
this
script is-
trilogy, and Christopher Lee is the most knowledgeable in the works of Tolkien on the set, and he was there helping direct and help these characters create these, or help these actors create these characters.
although how his character got their demise was totally opposite of how he died in the book. That's not how he died
Yeah,
in the book.
100%.
Well, the script was adapted for the movie itself, but the
It's about
characters
1,000
were
miles
to
from where
deliver
he
it.
died.
It's the way they deliver it. It's how they say their lines. It's how they act. It's how they move. Every aspect of the actor is what makes the character. And they ad-lib so much from the script too that they wind up using. Like, I know it's not Lord of the Rings, but Rob Williams is a master at that.
Yeah.
About ad-libbing it, and they leave it in there. So it's each individual actor's own personal touch that makes the character who they are, in my opinion.
For sure. Agreed.
So I will just quickly sprinkle in some of my favorite characters. One, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Sam is my favorite character, hands down. I think just his loyalty to Frodo and to the journey, and for him to just get swiped from the garden of like, hey, I was only doing some work and I accidentally heard your story about like this evil guy like with a big ring and like I somehow got involved in it. And he's like, well, you're going to go on this journey for 13 months and help Frodo destroy the ring. He's like, okay. And he never ever complained. He just like,
Don't you lose him, Samwise Gamgee.
I just love
Samwise
And I
Gamgee.
don't intend to meet.
And I don't mean to.
I don't mean to.
Don't
And
lose him.
Goonies never say die. So they just like, I think Sean Astin did such a good job
He was awesome.
portraying
he's
Sam,
really good.
and I just he has such heart, and I just love his character so much. Another one of my favorite characters is Aragon, like you guys had talked about. Aragon is, I feel, one of the most important characters of the entire trilogy. He is a hero in my mind. Whenever I played the Lord of the Rings video games, like I just loved playing them growing up. I always wanted to be him because I just thought he was the coolest guy. And
he's got 3 names.
I mean, even cooler. But to much of what you guys said, he's just an incredible character. And I think the fact that he goes off to be his own person, but then returns to be like take his rightful place. And at the end where he says, you know, you bow to no one, it gets me every time. And then another character that no one mentioned, so a very minor part, is Éowyn. I think Éowyn is an underrated character. Obviously, I connect probably a little bit more to her than you guys do since I am a woman. But just this idea of being free and going after things that, you know, you don't have the opportunity to do, but she goes ahead, she takes Mary and they go out into the battlefield and she ends up killing the Witch King. And she's the one that pretty much saved everyone from that battle. I think that she's just incredible, and just her bravery, and I aspire to be more like that every day. Tom Bombadil, unfortunately, Brian,
he's not in the movies. I mean, he's such an he's really important in the books, but they just
I don't know why he wasn't included in the movies. I mean, it is what it is. They're not going to redo it. But guys,
you never know. They're starting to. I mean, it's almost 20 years old.
It's crazy, and you guys were saying like the special effects and everything that was incorporated in the movie. It was filmed in like 1998, 1999.
Yeah,
it is bananas. Like it is 20 years old. Them.
What they did,
them filming. More
well, what they did, how they filmed Pelennor Fields, the Battle of Pelennor Fields, the Battle of the Black Gate, Helm's Deep, is some of the most groundbreaking special effects for that time. And even today, it holds up today. The Battle of Pelennor Fields, it's phenomenal.
Better than the Hobbit.
It's phenomenal.
Any of the battles in the Hobbit are still not as good as any of the battles.
Because they use too much special effects in the
There's
Hobbit.
too much CGI.
Right.
Yeah,
where they actually took they would
practical effects for Lord of the Rings.
They would dress up 100-something plus people and stick them within other CGI, so the majority were actually real. So you actually see real movements, and then there's like the fill-in.
The Ride of the Rohirrim on Pelennor Fields when Rohan shows up, which, by the way, is a phenomenal scene.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 150 people on real horses for that scene.
Coming down the hill.
Coming down that hill. I mean, that's a lot of horses.
So one of the brilliant things, though, they did, too, is where they built the sets for all those big towns. Like the battle, is it Helm's Deep? And then the Gondor. And they tore it down after the filmed one and built a bigger set right in its place for the next one. I mean, it was incredible what they did. Everything was genius from start to finish.
Yeah, Edoras, the entire Edoras was they built the whole thing on that rock.
Yeah.
Walt, actually, I have had, the pleasure of actually visiting Edoras. It was a couple hours.
It's still there, isn't it?
So what they going to these sets, if we're talking very, very briefly, because it's already after 10 o'clock, we will definitely have to do another part. I feel like we're gonna have to break it into like each movie and then talk about the movies in particular. But they made a deal with the country of New Zealand where, you guys are allowed to film here, you're allowed to do whatever you need to do, but we want to bring it back to what it was naturally. So everything that was there built for Edoras, it's in a town called Akaroa, is no longer there. The only permanent structure that is currently there is Hobbiton. And they after the Lord of the Rings, they took that down. It's actually on a farm in a town called Matamata, they have some of the coolest names from the Maori people in New Zealand. But just they took it down, and then when they were building another set for The Hobbit, they said, we're just going to make it permanent and people could come visit, but all the other sets from The Lord of the Rings that were outside have been taken down. And so it's cool that, you know, you could go and visit these places in real life, but the only one that's permanent now is Hobbiton. So
I have one gripe with the battles, and it's everything in Return of the King. If you look at Helm's Deep, it is very easy to follow what is going on battle-wise. Return of the King, there's a whole lot of hack and slash, like button mashing. Really don't know what's going on. There's specific scenes that are fine. A lot of the Oliphant stuff is good. A lot of the parts where there's a lot of discourse, you're good. But there's legit battle scenes there where you're like, if you're watching on too big of a screen, you're like, I don't get what is going on right now.
Well, I mean, it's simple. They're trying to get into Minas Tirith, and it's that. I mean,
well, no,
there's nothing else going on.
Well, overarching, that's fine, but I'm talking about like the legit one-on-one battles, right? In Helm's Deep, you can see, and maybe it's because there is a storyline, and that plot was in Two Towers, where Legolas and Gimli were attempting to kill the most Uruk-hai, right? So they had that storyline to run with, and if Legolas comes out and shoots 2 or 3 people, there was a 2 or 3 second break of them talking to each other. Where in Return of the King, there's not that. It's
you have the one. Well, first off, Gandalf talks to Pippin about the afterlife. There's the break there.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too, in Pelennor Fields, the good guys, they're going to lose. If Aragorn doesn't show up with the army of the dead, we lose.
Oh, but that part is so cool when
period. We're going to lose. We're losing.
Take a step back. It has nothing to do with the story. What I'm saying is cinematically, it doesn't work for me. It's too much junk.
So
I think it brings up, or it depicts the realistic.
The chaos.
Yeah, chaos that would be a battle.
I agree, but
you were there at that time. Like you had fights here, fights there, fights over here, fights here, and it was just messy. It was all over the place.
Cinematically, that's been done better. That's all I'm saying.
If we're going to talk about the battle scenes, like I think back to some of the scenes in Game of Thrones where it's like literally almost complete darkness, and all you see is like, I'm like, what is going on? I feel completely different about The Lord of the Rings. I could follow what's going on, but Game of Thrones, I'm like, what?
Well, I just think 100%. Yeah, I just think for me, I liked it cinematically because what I thought they did well, especially with the Battle of Pelennor Fields, is you could feel that they were losing, and you knew Aragorn was coming, and you're like, just hold on a little bit longer. They're coming. The cavalry's coming. And I thought cinematically they did a really good job of depicting that slowly but surely they were losing.
And I'm okay with that. I got that feeling. But I'm saying that it was 100% to a point where, like, I don't know what I'm watching. I have the overarching feel. I just feel that there are so many other movies that have done the same type of thing visually. Not the feel, not whatever, but visually, like they cut it too fast. They cut it too staccato. They did whatever, right?
There was a lot of different individual battles.
It was too much, and they tried to slam it in as opposed to do something a little more flowing, like some. And this is completely cinematic, but you're like, do something a little more like one shot flow through. Do some like. I felt like they just said, "All right, we have, I don't know, 2.5 hours of this footage. We're going to cram it into 15 minutes.
And I think the reason why Dave doesn't like it is actually the reason why I do like it, because whereas he was talking about breaking it up in the other parts, I think those scenes where they don't talk, where it's just the fighting that he's talking about, it's all over the place. I think that does in my opinion, does a good job of making you feel what's going on. But you got to remember in that battle too, there's so many main things happening,
right?
Between Éowyn, or what's her name? Is it Éowyn? Killing the King, Wraith King, and her dad dying, and then you got the whole Gandalf and Merry thing. And there's so many main plots. Those cut scenes of showing the fighting is the barrier between the main segments getting set.
I'll give you that. That's
Well, that's
a
the
good
point I was
That's a
trying
good
to
point.
make. Is
Okay.
I think cinematically it had to be that way because you had so many different characters that you had to jump back to them to say, well, wait a minute. If you don't jump back to Eowyn and Pippin or Merry, you're like, well, what's going on with them? So you had to go back and back and back.
And those big battle scenes that we were trying to figure out what's going on was the barrier between the main story.
And Steve, I agree with that because I think that they did a lot of the like legit, and there were a lot of them, real plot pushing scenes. They did those well. It was, and Steve, I think you're right. I kind of get it now. It was just okay. All right, okay. Now we got this, and now it's like, they used it as a cut. I'll give you that.
I do like how they break it up though, because I can't imagine how daunting it must feel to be in charge of so many different storylines. Like once you leave the Fellowship of the Ring, you're in like 5 or 6 different character stories of like you're trying to follow one and then you cut to another, and then the Return of the King is like a free for all. It's the end.
But it's a mashup of where everyone has gone, and you got to bring them all back together somehow.
Return of the King won 11 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
It swept the Academy Awards. It went 11 for 11.
I'm not faulting the movie. It was one thing. It was that.
No, it's and one of the other things.
Basically, what we're just saying, Dave, is that you're
give
wrong.
You a little bit of time. One of the things the cutscenes did too was give you a little bit of time to reflect on what just happened in one of the main stories too. Like, I mean, if you would have gone from her killing just one right after the other, that would have been even more choppy than doing it. I understand where Dave's coming from though, that it is choppy. There's not really a lot going on except a bunch of just random fighting. But again, I think they use that to distinguish between the main scenes.
But I think if you don't do that and give each scene its time, like you're losing significance of each moment. And like say that moment with Eowyn, like that is her peak moment of like, I just killed this guy and like I am no man, like I have whatever. I think like or with the speech with Gandalf and and Pippin, it's just those hold such significance, and having that sort of peaceful entry to some of the profound quotes in all the movies. I just think you need to give it that time. And Tina said editing and post must have been a nightmare.
Can you imagine
the editor for that film was phenomenal.
Like that's a movie you can't get wrong. If you get that wrong, your career's done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? They didn't get it wrong.
I thought they could have gotten it wrong, but I don't. Yeah,
they could have, but they didn't.
They did not, for sure.
Gotta give them credit.
Well, gentlemen, I think we'll have to have more Lord of the Rings streams. This was a special edition of the Monday night stream just for Dean's movie week. But I would love to do each individual movie, hopefully in the future, if you guys would like to join me. There's just
round 3.
All 3, yeah.
No, round 3.
Oh, round 3, yeah.
2.
Well, and like maybe 2 years ago, we did another Lord of the Rings stream.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago.
Like there's.
Oh yeah, it was on mine.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I thought it was on Meg's.
No,
well, we did
Meg's too, but mine was first, and then Meg did one, and then we did this one.
But I would love to do. There's just like so much because. Like as you were saying, Dave, you brought up that it's only so many pages, but Tolkien created this entire world that
there's a lot.
There's just
full histories,
so much
languages.
It's just so much that we could talk about. And clearly, we all are very passionate about it. So, thank you guys for being here. Stacy says, Mike asked before. Oh, yes, I do. I wrote them down just in case I would forget. So first, we are recognizing our Muppet Badge of Honor, which is our Johns for Beaker. So Richard, thank you for all that you do. You are like one of the most incredible people in this whole community. And we just love you all so much. Arjons, Donna, Sam, you guys are amazing. Richard, thank you for everything. And I just love that you're Beaker. And then the Meg's magical moment for this week is Beth from the Collectioneers Club. I know that Beth doesn't pop into live streams very often, but she's just been doing so much hard work. And I will talk about it after we go through everyone's channels very quickly, but she's put together something called the Boo Ball, and she did that last year, and with 31 different channels, and I can't imagine how much effort and work it takes, but it started this past week. And just a huge thank you to Beth for all the hard work that she's put in. But Shepolis, thank you for being here on this stream. What do you have coming up on your channel?
Same old thing.
Saturday nights with Shep, and then also daily vlogging. So
yeah, my daily vlog.
Yeah, and you've been very, very dedicated to your daily vlogs, and
I'm getting them.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing. I don't even know how you're doing it. I couldn't imagine daily vlogging. Just, oh my gosh. That would be so
It's fun. Tomorrow we're going to or tomorrow's video will be about a famous actor movie location.
Nice.
Oh, so is Shepolis?
Filming location.
Is Shepolis in it?
Shep's in it.
Could be.
So, guys, be sure to check that out tomorrow. Do you know what time it's going live? Not
No, I was trying to stick to a schedule, but that just doesn't happen. So it'll be tomorrow
at some time. So be on the lookout. Make sure that you have the notification bell checked off, and you will get all of those. Thank you so much for being on the stream, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, Dave. You go live on Tuesdays. Have you now transitioned to 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So party of two.
Party of two.
I always get it wrong. I'm like dinner for two.
That's fine. I got it wrong in one the thumbnails I put up, so it's all good. I put table for two. It's party of two. Whatever. Brandy and I talk food, Disney restaurants, drinks, all that fun stuff, and we make some stuff at home to do it. So that would be Tuesdays 6 p.m. Tomorrow is the Brown Derby. We may or may not be making the Cobb salad, so you should probably be there.
Oh, that's very exciting.
And Megan, thank you. Appreciate the invite. I had a blast. And since 3 of the 4 of us are here, I'm going to say D&T Wednesday night.
Yes.
And if I may, without giving anything away, this is a don't miss.
Oh,
aren't they all don't miss?
All of them are pretty much don't miss.
Yeah, this one's going to end up top 5. I'm just telling you.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so Disney That 9 o'clock Wednesday. Check that out. Also 6 o'clock tomorrow on Brandy and Dave. Thanks so much, Dave, for being here.
Thanks,
Josh, you just went live at 7 o'clock. You just got back from Disney. I'm sure that you have vlogs coming out from your trip. And do you have anything? You also had a video that came out this morning too, right?
Yeah, I dropped my first park vlog this morning.
Oh, awesome. So do you have anything else coming out this week?
I don't know if I have another park vlog this week, but I do have more park vlogs coming up. Coffee and Contemplation on Saturday. I think that's really it.
I think. Awesome. Yeah, so guys, Josh just went live. He goes live every Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And One Stop Mouse, hello, welcome. We are actually just getting to the end of our stream, but I appreciate you stopping in.
Hey, Bob.
And then also, Josh put out a vlog this morning, so go check that out as well. Josh, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Walt, you go live Tuesdays, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, but you also go live throughout the week too, because you live in Florida now.
We got a lot going on. We go live from the parks usually on the weekends for morning streams. We do early morning streams from one of the 4 Disney parks. They've been doing really, really well. We're really close to 4K on subs.
That's amazing.
So we're getting
Get
there,
it.
which is awesome. Tomorrow night to Sanity, we will be part of this movie marathon as I rank my worst movies ever.
I saw that. I'm excited for it.
Everybody's doing all the positive. I'm taking the negative spin.
These
are
good
the
job.
worst of the worst movies.
I love it.
Some of them I've
Question.
literally walked out of the movie theater in the middle of the movie.
Did you invite Steve for that one? Because I think he's gonna want to be on that one.
You should come. You should come in tomorrow, Steve. You should come over.
Tomorrow's my last. I got tournaments tomorrow. It's my last day of softball season for the year. So
Wow.
I'll be able to be back on Tuesdays.
Saturday, Steve and I will be also part of this movie marathon as we rank our favorite sports movies.
Of course.
Got it. Better write
Sports
that down.
line.
Yep. So
Awesome.
I thought Steve knew that, but he didn't.
I've been gone, so I didn't know
I
we
know,
were
I'm
doing
just
the movie
I've been gone.
And then last but not least, Dan and I, with our Disney movie review on Sunday, we will be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, part 2. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you guys picked that one. Oh, that's very exciting.
2 weeks ago, he picked Guardians of the Galaxy for me. This week, he picks Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for me.
That's very interesting. Oh, I like it. Awesome. Well, Walt, thank you so much for coming on. And,
thank you, everybody, for having me. Thank you to everybody in the chat. The chat's always awesome. Meg, appreciate it. And all these gentlemen, it's always an honor to be here with you.
Awesome. Steve, you go live right before me, 8 o'clock on Mondays. And then you just also got back from Disney, too. So I'm very jealous of some of the items that you brought back home. But do you have anything else coming out this week or in the next week?
Probably, but it's not a problem.
Awesome.
One of these days we'll start editing.
Well, Steve also goes live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So be sure. I mean, not on his channel, but on First Night, Diz and That, and pretty much all the time on Ryan's channel on Saturday nights. So. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said earlier, I just had another video come out today, so I was very excited about that video. I got to dress up.
And you looked awesome.
Thank you. I had so much fun doing that makeup, and I got to dress up as Constance, and I got a spooky, mystery Halloween box, and it was just so much fun to open. And next week, actually, Dave will be back, and Patrick will be back, and Nate will be back. We will be doing Adults in Disney Part 2, because we'll probably need another part after that. So I'm excited for next week. And
it's the best trilogy since Lord of the Rings. I'm just saying.
I can't disagree. But be sure to check that out next week. And to all the people in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I know that not all of you like Lord of the Rings, but it's something that I really love, and I know all of the other gentlemen in these boxes love. And I just am so grateful that you spent your evening with us. And please go check out Pepper Tree Villa, who goes live on there live right now. And of course, check out all these channels that are in these boxes. And pretty much everyone goes live at some point during the week. And we will have to do a part 2 of this. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
May the force be with you.